Okay. What you see over here is a list of web browsers. What do you mean by web browsers? What are web browsers? Yeah. Simply said, a web browser is a software that allows you to browse or access the internet. Okay. So Opera, Google Chrome, Safari. So Safari is used in Mac or iOS. Microsoft Explorer is the older version of Microsoft's version of search and web browser, but Microsoft Edge is a newer version and supposedly much faster. Never used it before. Okay, and you don't just say Google, or you don't just say Google here. It's called Google Chrome. So when you just say Google, it refers to the search engine Google. So now we'll talk about what is a search engine. Who can tell me what's a search engine? Yeah, what's a search engine? I'd like to hear your beautiful voices. A search engine is a website that allows you to look through the internet. Now, if you're not sure where a particular document is, then you can use the search engine to find where that document is. So that is a benefit of a search engine. So you can see different examples of search engines. Yes, it basically looks for what you need within the World Wide Web. Okay. So you have Google, you have Baidu, DuckDuckGo. If I'm not mistaken, there are specific websites for kids also, search engines for kids also. Remember it when it said DuckDuckGo. And this is Bing, Ask, AOL, and so on. What you find on your far right hand side corner is instant messaging apps. So what happens in terms of instant messaging is that when you type a message and send it across, unlike email, you don't have to wait and wait for a reply. It's very simple and very straightforward. You just type the message and hit a send button, and you will get the you will get whatever response you need. Okay, so search engines, sorry, instant messages come with different features nowadays. We had WhatsApp initially that only showed messages when it was delivered. Now we can see whether the person read the message or not. We can block the person from viewing it. We can what else you have, you can add stories and profile pictures and whatnot. So it's all these are just evolving as it goes. Okay, so you have Hangouts by Google, Facebook by Mark Zuckerberg, WhatsApp by Facebook. So recently there was a huge outrage about the security issues that are going on WhatsApp. So I think they took it back, they reversed the suggestion, but I'm not sure. Then you have Telegram. They say it's a little safer than WhatsApp. Twitter. Twitter is actually a social media site. Line is also instant messaging. Skype is a video conferencing app. WeChat is also instant messaging, and you have the normal messaging app on your phone. What you see here is social media sites. Instagram is social media, right? Because you use it to communicate, you use it to share your views and thoughts. So just compare this WhatsApp and Instagram. So WhatsApp is an instant messaging site, whereas social media or Instagram is much different. Okay, just a minute. So social media sites are used to connect with those of you who are far and you can't connect with them geographically. So you can use again Facebook, you can use WhatsApp for communication, you can use Instagram, you can use Pinterest, it's a content sharing and saving site. You can use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional social media sites where you use it for job placements and things like that. You have Snapchat where you can share content that lasts only an hour. And you have Google Plus, which is no longer used. And you have Twitter. Next, we have video conferencing. Okay, so in an odd way, we are also right now doing some kind of we are doing some kind of video conferencing. Only thing is our videos are not turned on because some of you are from the eastern part of the country, some of you are from the western part of the country. Last week I was just going through my database of the students and I was flabbergasted to see from where and where I have kids. I actually have kids covering the island. Okay, not only me, but the Learning Hub as a whole. We have kids from Colombo, we have kids from, we actually don't have kids from Jaffna or the north. Would like to touch that part and see how it goes. So video conferencing can be done through softwares like Skype, Zoom, WebEx. There's an app called video conferencing as well. So that you can use these different apps for video conferencing to enable video conferencing. And another very important feature of the World Wide Web is email. So email is electronic email, and anybody here who has never sent an email before? I'm asking because I don't think I have to explain anything in email much because, like I said, it's I don't think any of you would have not sent an email. If you have not sent or if you don't know what email is, please put a message in the chat box. Let me explain soon. What is email? Done නැති කවුරු හරි ඉන්නවද? Don't be shy. You're here to learn. So if you're going to be shy and not open up about what you don't know, you might lose out. But just to be very brief, let me tell you that email is an application that is used for you to communicate with one another. And opposed to social media and instant messaging, email is a more formal way of communication. Okay, it's very formal, and you have to have a to address, and you will also have an option called carbon copy, which means the person you're sending the to part to, you're sending it to somebody else to read the email also. Okay, and we also have carbon copy. So blind carbon copy. Blind carbon copy means nobody in the to fields or the CC fields will able to see that you have sent that email to the person in blind carbon copy. All right. And an email address has two parts. One is called the username and the other is called the domain. So when you say the learning hub at gmail.com, the learning hub is the username and the domain is gmail.com. So which means our emails are going to be saved with the Gmail server. Yeah, you have different labels in email. You have inbox, which where all the emails that you receive will be stored. You have you have sent items where all the emails that you sent are stored. You have outbox where emails that have not yet gone, drafts that you're still typing, trash you have deleted. So these emails would be found in those places. Spam means emails that come from maybe marketing, or sometimes people that you don't even know. So these kind of if your web server detects that they are sending so many emails per hour, so many emails at a time, they'll automatically put it to your spam mail. So sometimes even your friends' emails might go to spam, so you can check it up there. Then we talk about an interesting concept called cloud computing. So cloud computing is where, rather than you using physical hardware, you use software or cloud-based storage. You don't save your pictures, your documents with you. Instead, you save it on the cloud. You save it somewhere else, right? So cloud computing has three types of services. The first one is known as infrastructure as a service. Um, the next one is known as platform as a service. The other one is called software as a service. So infrastructure as a service means you are renting out computer infrastructure. For example, you're renting out a server, you're renting out a network. So this basic level of a computer system is provided through an infrastructure as a service uh, from the cloud computing. Then you have platform as a service. So platform as a service is very beneficial for those who develop. So if you are involved in any kind of web development, if you are involved in any kind of just any development, you have different tools that you can use in platform as a service. They provide a platform for your development uh, environment. That is where that's why it says build with it. Move to it means you like rather than you don't have your own server, you can't buy a server because a server is very expensive. So for that reason, you rent a server online. Infrastructure as a service. So platform as a service is when you are developing something. And finally, users like you and me, we use software as a service. So what is the softwares that we use as a service? Remember, we used Google Documents, we use Google Sheets, we use Google Forms. So all these are different forms of software as a service. It also works as a storage component where we use Google Drive, we use Microsoft's OneNote, and then you have what else? What else? You have Dropbox. So all these are different features that are there for you to save your documents on the cloud. Okay. Now let's look at the 2019 question paper. Who wants to do it before I answer it? Or do you want me to just give you all the answer and go, which I don't like?
We'll do it, teacher.
Okay, Musa. Since it's coming from you, I'd like you to do it, please. I'll give you all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes maximum. Just write, no, 5 minutes actually too much. Just write the answer only. Consider the following statements labeled as A to F and identify the most suitable term to fill the blanks given below. So blank determines the correspondence between domain names and the IP addresses on the internet. So I very clearly explained this with a diagram. So the domain name server service determines the correspondence between domain names and IP addresses on the internet. Blank is used to transfer large files from one computer to another. So that is FTP, File Transfer Protocol. Blank is one of the most important protocols for email transportation between email servers. That is ICMP. Internet Control Message Protocol. So there are different protocols for different things, how different things happen. So I didn't go to talk about it here because it's very clearly mentioned in your textbook. So you can go refer that there. Blank is a top level domain of the domain name www.nie.lk. So the .lk is the top level domain, and just this is the domain name. Could be used to find out web pages whose URLs are not known is search engines. Blank separates the username and the domain name of an email address. We just discussed it. It was the @ symbol. So for this question, your answer scheme says this. You will get 3 marks if you answered 5 to 6 questions correctly. You will get 2 marks if you answered 3 to 4 questions correctly. You will get 1 mark if you answer 1 or 2 questions correctly. Okay. C. Isn't C simple mail transfer protocol? Yeah, you're right. Sorry. The answer is for C. Blank is one of the most important protocols for email transmission is SMTP. I did not see that. Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So email transportation. Thank you, Sajid. So then we move on to the second part of the question. Choosing from the examples in the list, write down the correct example. So this is actually a fun kind of question, very practical. Web browser is Mozilla Firefox. So A is Mozilla Firefox. B is programming language for dynamic web content creation. So if you are going to create a website that is going to be constantly changing, then you will need to use PHP. It's a programming language. Web authoring tool, a software used to create a website. Here is Composer. And D, a content management system is Joomla. So they have different templates and you will just have to keep making the, you will have to just specify the content for it to appear. So marks for this is half a mark each, and in total you get 2 marks. Half into 4, you will get 2 marks. All right. Now we're going to move on to the multimedia lesson. And so first, in terms of a picture, we have a few main elements. The first one is known as a pixel. So a pixel is the little tiny dot that you can see on your screen. So here is an image that is zoomed to show you how pixels actually look. This is the basic level of a picture. All right. And then to calculate how many colors are used per pixel, you need to follow this equation. This question has been asked twice before. So once the question was if it's 10 bits per pixel, so then we are going to say 2 to the power 10, that's 1024 colors will be used. So I've given the reverse order also. So if you get a number, so if they say a picture has 49 colors, you need to find the square root of it. And then we say 7 bits were used. Right? And not a very important lesson this is, because exam relevance is very low. Then we talk about resolutions, in which we can use to measure the quality of an image. So the higher the resolution is, the better the picture quality is. So resolutions basically measure the length and the width, the number of pixels on the length and the width of a picture. Then we talk about color models. So there are two different color models called RGB and CMYK. CMYK is used in printing and RGB is used on screen. So if you look at a printed content, you will see the colors that they have used are magenta, CMYK. So how that happens is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. K is for the black, right? RGB, as you can see, is for red, green, and blue, right? So commonly used image editing tool. So when you want to make a proper rectangular selection, we use the rectangular selection tool. If you want to select it in a form of a circle or an ellipse, you use the ellipse tool. Freeform selection. Now you want to select something like, this shape that I have drawn, then you can use the free select tool. The magic wand tool will help you select pictures based on the image. So not all of these are important, but they could ask, random some of these questions. But one thing that they have never asked before is, I think they actually should start asking like that. They give you a before picture and then they give you a after picture, and they should ask you the freeform tool is also known as the lasso tool. Lasso is that what the cowboys push, I mean not push, but you say the cowboys rotate in their hands, the rope. So then they could ask, what is the tool that was used to get to the after picture? So then you need to have a small understanding here. So zoom, you can enlarge pictures. Color picker, you can pick a particular color on the screen even if it's not there in your system. Flip images vertically. Eraser tool, airbrush, that's how they get rid of all your under eye circles in when you take pictures. Clone, also used to cover up all the what do we say, the skin, the discolored skin. Healing tool also can be used for that. Blur, to give you a nice focused image. So these are a few different tools that are used. And how many bits per pixel are required to represent a 32 colors? So very easy, just like the previous one, but it's coming reverse. So 2 to the power something will be 32. So you need to figure out what this something is. So what is it? 2 to the power? 2 to the power, let's say 2 to the power 0 is, that is no colors are used, it's 1. 2 to the power 1 is 2. 2 to the power 2 is 4. We did this yesterday. 2 to the power 3 is 8. 2 to the power 4 is 16. And 2 to the power 5 is 32. So answer is number 2. 35 colors are being used. Give me the answer for question number 34 also. Question number 34. Hold on, sorry. So the question is, what would happen to an image if its resolution is decreased? So I said the quality of the image is going to go down if your resolution goes down. So when the quality goes down, even the size of the picture goes down. So answer is answer number 2. Quality and the file size of the image decreases. There's no chance that it increases if you reduce its resolution. Okay. We're going to move on to HTML. So this lesson, I'm directly going to do the past paper question because, we're just directly going to we're going to look at the past paper question. So you have number 1. So here it was actually HTML. Can you all answer this and put it in the chat box as one individual message for all of the 10 entries, okay? Not just type 1, send, type 1, send, name. I want all 10 together. I don't even mind you guys taking a picture. So you have HTML over here, and wait, I can't find my writing. Where is that? Okay, I think we are fine now. Yeah. So the title is dengue fever, and we close the title again, but it is within number 1. So title comes inside the head. So there are 2 parts to an HTML document, that is the head and the body. So just like us, what goes inside the head is all the information about the page, whereas body contains the information that is displayed itself. So number 1 is head. You don't have to put the brackets because the brackets are already within your question. Then the title, head is closed, and we start the body. Number 2, center, dengue fever, what it is and how to stop it. Then we have stopped the center line and closed number 2. So who can tell me what number 2 is? What is number
H1.
2? H1. Okay. Check if H1 is there, because sometimes they don't put H1 instead they put H2. Nah, hurry. H1.
So then number 2.
Okay, it's H1 or H2. I have not copied. Okay, I've not copied that part. If somebody has the paper, okay, it's H2, is it, Hira? Hira? Okay, so Hira says it's H2. I'm assuming it's from the exam paper. So number 2 is H2. Number 3, center again, blank, SRC, dengue. So that's a very, very straightforward one. So you need to insert a picture, and when you are inserting the picture, you need to say IMG. This is the tag. IMG is the tag. SRC is the attribute for you to put where the picture goes to. Number 4, blank align equals center. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne viral infection. So now we have a paragraph. Yeah, it's windy. Carefully close, okay? So we have a short paragraph. So number 4 is P. Then you can see that 3 paragraphs have been opened and closed. So this is where number 4 comes: open, close, open, close, open, and close. Then they've started a table, and they put the border as 4, and the table is aligned to the center. So the first thing you do when you start a table is you have to, now I've told my students that when you're working with a table in HTML, you need to remember this like a mantra: top to bottom, left to right. That's how we go. Actually, I have to correct myself there. It's not top to bottom, left to right. It's left to right and top to bottom first, because you first start with building individual cells, like building blocks like this, and we come downwards. Okay, so left to right it is, and then we come top to bottom like so. Okay, and we close this off. So when you start a table, like I said, you first start, you go from left to right, which means we are creating a row, a table row. So the first row of a table is known as the table heading. So in HTML, we build, like I said, we build individual cells. So at the opening and closing of each individual cell, you need to mention that it is part of the table's data. So now here number 4 was TR, so number 5 is TH, number 6 is, sorry, number 5 is TR, number 6 is TH, and number 7, okay, so we've opened a new something here. So the first one is dengue fever signs, symptoms, and prevention tips. So this table probably looks like this. Okay. So table heading is over here. Dengue fever signs, and then 5 prevention tips. So then you've closed the row and you're opening a new row at this point, and there is a number 7 to be opened. And then comes number 8, and then list items, which means there is a list involved here. What kind of list would it be? You can see dots. So that is going to be, so number 5 means we are opening the row. Number 7, this is no longer a heading, so that's going to be table data. Table data. And after table data, they have started off a list, like I mentioned, that would be number 8. So this is there are 3 main types of lists: ordered list, unordered list, and definition lists. So ordered lists will have numbers and letters to indicate a particular order. Unordered lists will just go, we show no importance to the order. So unordered list goes in dots like this. So this is, I'm going to say OL. If you want, you could specify that this is another way they could test your knowledge in terms of HTML lists is they will ask you what type of list it is. So they won't directly ask you. They will give you a code and they'll show you multiple outputs and ask, what is this? Okay. So this is the default list. This is called, this is called the disk. So this is the default setting for the ordered, the unordered list. And number 9, I'm going to assume, because it's going to be the next row, that is ordered list. Yes, number 9 is over here. And list items, close the list, close table data, close table row, close the table, center aligned, H3 for more information, A something. So that's going to be href, hyperlink reference, because you are putting a hyperlink, a link from one website to the other, and that's going to be A for anchor, H for hyperlink reference. And finally, we talk about how a website is developed. Only once this question was asked in I think 2000, again 17 or 18. I'm not quite sure which year this was. Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing. If you get 9 or 10 correct, you get 5 marks. Basically, you can go with half a mark each, but the good news is that you all can round it upwards. Okay, so as I was going to say, you can the web development process, it's very similar to the system development lifecycle process. I think you should, or I'm sure it's is very clear to all of you. It's on your tute, right? So any questions? Anybody has any questions? So will I have to do the same thing as yesterday, like individually mention names and ask, so and so, do you have a question? So and so, do you have a question? But please do ask.
Yes, yes.
I told you all, don't leave the session today without if you have doubts.